Hello ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys doing today? And this video is going to be a nice little advice video on how to stretch your little stash. Now, I hope you guys are indulging on something. I hope you guys are, eating some, munching on something and I hope you guys have your notebook papers out because this is going to help you save some money. And I know a lot of people can't buy a lot of weed or can't always get weed every day, especially me, definitely not. I always have my personal strategies that I'm gonna share to you guys that you guys are, might help you guys. I know most of these advices have been said 100 times, but I threw a couple of my unique advices that I kind of go for here and there. So get your notebooks out and I hope you guys enjoy this little video. Alright, so the first advice that I have is mainly to lower your sessions. The most obvious advice when it comes to stretching your stash, because when you're smoking 24/7 throughout the day, like let's say you have more than 3-4 sessions a day, obviously you get a lot of stuff less done unless you're smoking while you're getting that stuff done. Props to you, good. But even then, your stash is running out very fast, right? And you want to stretch it out and figure out, oh shit, I don't get paid until 3 days from now, and I only have a quad left, or I'm running out too fast, and you notice all right, I'm taking too much sessions throughout the day. So the obvious first advice is to lower it a little bit. I'm not saying stop smoking completely. I'm just saying lower down the sessions a little bit. If you take 4 sessions a day, wake and bakes here and there, blah blah blah. Obviously, lower that down to 2 sessions a day. You maybe cut out your wake and bake, be sober for a few hours, you get a lot of things done, go to the gym, be active, or, do difficult things first in the morning, and first thing throughout the day, and then you can have your first sesh to reward yourself. And you're not gonna smoke way too much for your first sesh. You're like, all right, bet, let me just smoke a blunt, nice blunt, and then maybe a couple dabs on the side, which is good. We're gonna keep falling more into both of them because these advices fall into flower and dabs. So even if you just have dabs, this advice still falls for that. So you still want to lower down the amount of dabs, amount of sessions you take a day, because then you look more forward to it and you get a lot more stuff done, and you create a side hustle, whatever, and then 2 sessions might turn into 1 session a day because you're super busy throughout the day. Who knows? Everybody's different. Everybody has a different schedule. Everybody has a different life. So you'll figure your own, create your own schedule, and then you'll figure out, all right, bet I'm gonna smoke at this time, and then I'm gonna save it for bed, and after that I'm gonna chill for a few hours, and then do whatever else I gotta do throughout the day, and then I'm smoke again after that, if you have work, blah, 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 go to work, come home, have a sesh after that. And then boom, that'll make your stash last way longer as well, mainly for this advice for the first one, because it's, you're not smoking throughout the day. So that's the first one, is to literally just lower it down throughout the day. So that way, you're not just killing your stash within 3 days, you're killing your stash within a week or so. You know what I'm saying? Now the second most obvious advice, if you just have flower, is to just have joints, no joints and blunts. Obviously, because when you roll up, or to lower it down if that's your only way of consuming, because you want to just look at it like this, you're rolling up at the very least a gram, or a 0.8, even then, if you buy glass, a bong, or if you don't have access to a shed or a garage, you can just get yourself a pipe or a bubbler and just do little hits at a time, and then, or, I hate one hitters, those don't really work for me, at least, but just any glass will help you stretch your stash, and does it get you higher? Yes, and it'll help you stretch it out more, and you're smoking less, and because it gets you higher, because when you're smoking a joint or a blunt, you're inhaling the paper and it's burning at the same time. So you want to not let it burn while you hit the bong, because when you hit the bong or a pipe, you want to hit it all in one hit. You want to get every single smoke of that hit, and just pack little at a time. Don't do corner hits. Don't cheat yourself. Just do little hits at a time. So that way you're letting your weed and your stash last way longer. Number one, and number two, your sessions last way longer too when you use glass. Because with a joint and a blunt, that your sesh will last for like 10 minutes, right? 10, 15 minutes at best. And then after that, it's all gone. But with a glass, you have a stash to work with. It depends, like if you grind up a gram or a gram and a half, you have like a nice little stash on the table to work with. You can just do little hits at a time, and if you get way higher before finishing it, you can just dump it back in your jar or stash, and then you can save it till the next stash. So that way you have a lot more to work with. So that's like you know what I mean, like less joints and blunts. Because as much as I love blunts, as much as I love smoking joints, as much as I love, having something burn in my hand, you know what I'm saying? I know that I'm going to go through my stash faster in the back of my head because I'm like, all right, bet, yeah, like, mainly because I live by myself and I never had the ability to, like, smoke a joint and a blunt in a house and shit. Without, I had to, like, make sure my parents is, like, gone for 3 days if I was going to do that. But nowadays, I have my own apartment. I just be doing it 24/7, if I'm being honest with y'all. But I use my bong a whole lot too. If I'm like down to my last 2/8, if I'm down to my last like half ounce left, and I really want to save my money, just I do that. But the joints and the blunts, it adds a lot of entertainment, yeah. But like you gotta know in the back of your head that you're gonna go through your stash really fast. So that's the third advice or the second advice is just no joints and blunts. We good. We chill out here with it. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're out and about, unless this is a social scenario, yeah, joints and blunts, you have all the way, for social scenarios. All right, now the third advice, it's like kind of unique advice from me and my personal experience from weed is get high quality shit. I know it's expensive, right? But when you just gotta experiment and figure out what's for you. You know what I'm saying? This is if you live in a legal state or if you live in an area where you have a lot of options, in an illegal state. You just gotta just buy high quality shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. Whenever I get cheap shit or whatever, like if I'm trying to save some money and I get like an $80 ounce from a plug that has shake and shit, 9 times out of 10 I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it like that as much as if I buy like an expensive ounce or like let's say I get an ounce for like 150 or so and it looks really good and shit like that and as frosty and shit, at least from in my state, when I was legal and having the plugs sell really good shit for a really good price. Even if I simply spent an extra $25 or extra $30, on my usual price on whatever I get, I enjoy it a lot more, and it lasts a lot longer. It lasts a lot longer because I'm getting way higher. I'm enjoying it more, and I'm not being abusive to it as if I was like, getting cheap shit. I'm like smoking back to back to back. I'm not getting as high, and it's like, do I really? Why do I spend my money on this? Has been a lot of times where I was like that. I'm like, damn, why I spend my money on that? Fuck, next time I'm getting good shit. And once I get good shit, I enjoy it more. I save more, and then as long as I work more hours, save my paychecks, and I throw an extra like $30 and like whatever I spend on whatever ounce, usually an ounce or a couple ounces I spend on, like or eighths. Like if I usually get a $25 eighth, I would get a $45 eighth, and then like I would do that once in a while. I mean, I don't buy eighths anymore. Like I just get ounces now, but back then when I was like younger, yeah, I would try to spend more money on these, and then I would enjoy those a whole lot more, and I would like and sit in the sesh when staring into space like damn, like ooh, all right, this is good. You know what I'm saying? Like whew. Man, like get high quality shit. If your plug has like one of those designer bags and he's not charging way too much for them, and then you just get a deal and he's charging like 200 an ounce for it or like 220 an ounce for it, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy it a lot. You know what I'm saying? And you can flex it to your homies in the sesh, like, yo, look at this, and they'll be like, whoa, you spent $60 on that? You'll be like, yeah, kind of is. Nah, I spent like, I got like, I got it as a deal in an ounce, like do all that shit, figure all that out. If you live in a legal, like if you live in a legal state or like if you live in an legal area with a whole lot of options and a whole lot of different plugs, just try it out. Just figure it out. You'll figure it out what's for you. All right, number 4 is more for like social events, but don't really share your stash too much unless they match you, unless like they give you the love back in any kind of way. It doesn't have to be flour. It can be like, food or the vibes or, whatever. Or they're like, oh, I got you next time. They actually keep their word. Yeah, share your stash, whatever, those types of scenarios. But, when you share your stash a lot with people, it's the most obvious reason. It runs out faster, and you're not getting as high because you're sharing it with someone else. I mean, I'm not against sharing. I share my shit a whole lot, even to this day. Whenever I'm obsessed with people sometimes, and they ask for it, I'll be like, hey, here you go. Take a hit too. Don't keep it for too long. You know what I'm saying? But I'm playing with that part. But you know what I'm saying? I just let I let a person hit it, as much as they want. That's if I can afford to. That's if I have like, extra weed to share and I don't really care. I'm like, all right, bet, like I got like this weed for X amount of dollars, I bet, But if it's high quality shit or shit that I really like, personally, I don't like sharing it. If I'm being honest, like, I'm playing. Like, if it's like real, if it's like my personal favorite, like, alright, like, this is mine, I don't really share it like that. Like, for example, like, earlier when I mentioned about the high quality shit, little designer bags, I have to really fuck with you to really share it. You know what I'm saying? I have to really fuck with you to be like, this is personally bi. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you have to be my girlfriend. Like, you have to be a girl to fuck with me like that. Like, that maybe, maybe. Like, we gotta do it first. And maybe I'll share that, but I'm playing with y'all. But it's the most obvious. It runs out faster. You don't get as high, and like, if they don't pay you back or if they ain't sharing the love, they'll eventually take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? They'll keep asking you to test more and more and more. And then, the minute you reject, they stop being your friends. And then that's the reason, why you need to have boundaries. You know what I'm saying? You gotta tell them, hey, like, if you ain't gonna share the love back, or if you ain't gonna match, I gotta share this shit. I gotta fucking be selfish with this shit because I need to save some money. You know what I'm saying? I need to save some bread. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys know what I mean. It's like if it's, if you're at a party, and you don't really care, all right, whatever. That's just for that case scenario. But that's just my other advice is just don't share it. Keep it to yourself. Especially if it's high quality shit. They have to really, really fuck with them. For yourself to really share your stash of like really good shit, or if it's a lady friend, you know what I'm saying? Now, number 5, they can only do this only if you can, or like if you live by yourself, like I do, or like if you have the accessibility to do this, or if you have more money to do this, or or extra little bread to do this. But make edibles and buy edibles. Kind of a weird, unique advice because what I did throughout the years is if I was never really an edible person ever since before I turned 21, right? Like when I was younger, I always stick to either cards or like, joints and blunts or an occasional bong rip if I have like, if I had a bong, at the time without it breaking or like without myself breaking it. Like those were my only methods until I turned about 20, or actually no, I was like 21 most definitely when I had like the ability to go to a dispensary and like get my own weed and edibles and stuff. And ever since I first turned 21 and I got the Levo machine too. Like if you guys have been watching my content for a while, I also got the Levo machine, which also turned me into an edible guy as well. Because before then, like I never knew how to make butter or oils. You know what I'm saying? And so I just never cooked my own edibles like that unless like I buy the butter or oil from other people. So, but now this time I can make my own, you know? So that definitely turned me into an edible person. And throughout those experiences, I learned that if I pop like a gummy or like a brownie or so, not a whole brownie, because obviously not me, like a little square, you know, and I mix that within my sessions, I kind of get way higher. I don't do this every single sesh, obviously. I do this like maybe on a good day, you know, like if I'm not doing shit throughout the rest of the day or if I'm not doing anything too mindful, you know, like if I'm doing mindless tasks the rest of the day, I'll do that, you know, I'll pop like a couple of gummies or a gummy and maybe a couple dabs, you know, mix around your also mix around your consumption as well as like a little bonus advice because when you mix it around, you know, if you can't afford it, you get way higher and it'll help you make any stash all your stashes last longer. But edibles, this advice comes to play, you know, mixing around how you consume. Because edibles it consumes in your body, which, you know, it goes into your endocannabinoid system the different way. Smoking, you know, it goes through your lungs, which, you know, it goes to like around here of your brain, you know, you get way higher and shit like that. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but you guys know what I mean by that. But you know, like when you mix it around with edibles and you bake it in your own place or you bake it in a garage and you make a stash every time. You only need like a quad of weed, or you only need a quad of weed or a half ounce of weed to really make this happen. And you cook it in your own garage or kitchen. And I mean, yeah, kitchen mainly because you live by yourself. But I used to do it in the garage, making my own butter in the Levo machine and you make the butter and oil, and then you can make whatever you want. You can make like, or I just save the oil and I just dump the oil in like a drink or in whatever food I'm eating that night. If I'm in a good mood or something, you know, and I really want to get smacked, and I make my stash, it makes me smoke less. That's the point. Like edibles make me smoke less. And it'll help you to smoke less if you have a low edible tolerance or like if edibles get you high. Because I know edibles don't get some people high, which I feel really bad for that. You know, I guess that just comes for like genes or something or how your body consumes the weed. But yeah, definitely this advice will come to play. Last and final advice is to get ounces. It's only flowers for flour. Obviously, dabs would have been like thousands of dollars if you tried to follow this advice, but mainly for flour, just buy an ounce or a half ounce at the very least. So that way you have a lot more to work with and you don't have to bother to plug every day. You know, when I used to buy Ace every day, like back in the day, I realized I would spend more money. And like when you buy an eighth and like, you know, obviously it's hard to stretch that than a half ounce or an ounce, you know. A half ounce, you're more mindful of how much you're consuming. You know, I mean, if you have more weed, you're more mindful of how you're consuming. If you can control yourself, you know, because I know a lot of people would argue and say, oh, if you have more, you're gonna want to smoke all day every day. Well, that's if you have a free time. That's what I'm saying. Like, try to create your schedule, like I said in the first advice, and then that way you lower the amount of sessions you take a day, and you're more mindful. And when this advice comes to play, when you buy more, when you get a half ounce or ounce or 2 ounces, you know, it'll become cheaper if you really think about it, you know, because instead of paying $35 an eighth, you're paying $20 to $25 or $15 an eighth, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the plugs out here gonna hate me, but this ain't this advice, but you know what I'm saying, y'all. Just get more, you know, just buy more, if you know what I'm saying. Just stack up your bread a little bit, you know what I'm saying. Take a little break from the weed if you know, you only have the eighth and have no money left. Wait until, you know, you get your next check and you'll be like, bet, I'm not going in debt. I'm just saving it. Bet. Now I got the bread. It'd be like, bet. Now I can get a half ounce or an ounce instead of getting an eighth every day. You know what I'm saying? Or a dub every day. Or, I mean, like back in the day, we used to get dubs and Dom bags. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of buying a dub or an eighth every day, you can just get like a half ounce or an ounce. You know what I'm saying? Once, twice, you know what I mean? No. Once a week. You know, you're copping once a week and you're stretching your bread out, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the next week, and then next week you'll have a little bit more to work with, and then 1 week will turn to 2 weeks. That, you know what I'm saying? As long as you follow all of these advices and this last advice, you'll always have, you know, you'll start to save money, and you'll start to, you know, obviously get way higher, and you'll start to realize, hey, it's much easier to just buy more at once than to just buy little at a time. You know, especially if you go to a dispensary. Like, if you go to a dispensary and you just get one thing at a time, bro, you're cheating yourself. Especially with those taxes. Like, what? I most definitely would just get like a lot and just, you know, from a plug, obviously. Or, you know, if I'm going to a dispensary, I'll just buy as much as I can. You know, try to stretch that stash out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, you'll figure it out over time once you figure out what is your budget and what is for you. All right, that's all the advices that I have for you guys for today. And it's 2023. We're trying to save some money. We're not trying to be the biggest smokers in the world because, you know, unless we're being paid for it, even then, it's not worth your lung health. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just trying to just stash up our, you know, our cash instead of, you know, I mean, instead of spending it on the greens, you know what I'm saying, too much, you know? Like, I remember back in those days spending all of my money on the greens, you know, every paycheck, you know, carts, you know, edibles, you know, or I mean, mainly carts. I would buy like a lot of carts, you know what I'm saying? And once I stopped smoking carts and I mainly just stick to flower and dabs, I mean, it's much easier for me to, you know, keep my sessions, you know, a lot, you know, stretched out throughout the day. I'm not really session all day. You know, I'm not getting high 24/7. So, yeah, that's all the advices that I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. And thank you for 2,000 subs. We're going to keep going with the content. I want to just throw you guys everything I know. You know what I'm saying? Like, just offer you guys as much value as possible. And the vlogs are coming too. So, get ready for that. Peace.